Welcome to IAYTD. It's Friday, which means it's fight day. So before we get into this new fight, let's look back at last week. We had Sandman versus the Scarecrow. Now I tried to pit two characters up against each other that had very different power sets, but it seemed pretty unanimous that the Sandman would come out on top for a couple different reasons. Kayshawn Hess had this to say. I think Sandman wins here because fear toxin attacks the mind and organs, and Sandman doesn't have any organs, only sand. There's a slight chance that it might work because Sandman has 1 grain of sand for a brain, but it's unlikely. The only way Scarecrow can win is if he uses fire or water. And I want to say you're a great YouTuber, and I always can never wait for Fridays to see who is battling next. You rock, Kayshawn. Sir Science added, gotta agree with you, I can't see Scarecrow using water and fire as they aren't part of his usual kit. So the only chance he has of winning is using his intelligence as he is quite a bit smarter than Sandman. So the chances of Scarecrow using the fear toxin and really being able to affect Sandman is very slim because he doesn't have a brain the way that we do and the way that the fear toxin is probably created for. So he'd probably be immune to the fear toxin. So pretty one-sided, Sandman would take it. Let's move on to this next fight. This week we're pitting Gambit from the X-Men against Mr. Freeze from the DC Universe. Let's start by talking about Gambit. Gambit's mutant ability is to touch something and charge it with kinetic energy, to turn all of its potential energy into kinetic energy, and usually that results in explosions. So he tends to do this with small things that he can throw, such as playing cards. That's kind of his trademark thing. So he charges the card, throws it, and it detonates. He can do this with larger objects, but it takes longer to charge, but it's also a bigger explosion. In addition to making something explode, he can also charge a thing with so much force and energy that it just really packs a punch. So he is known to do this with his bow staff, where he'll charge it with kinetic energies so that when he hits something, it's like it can take down a building. Like it's so much force that it does some damage. In terms of fighting style, he's very acrobatic. He's got the bow staff. He knows some martial arts, but really the stuff that he's going to depend on is throwing the cards and using his bow staff. And now let's compare him to the new 52 Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was exposed to something that basically lowered his body temperature to the point where he needs like a suit to kind of keep him cold. Anything he touches will freeze. But his weapon here is a cold gun, like a freeze gun that he created that shoots this blast of essentially ice that's about to happen, right? So it's like he freezes something, it'll like turn into ice. He can stop someone in their tracks. He can turn someone into a block of ice. He can create a barrier or a wall if he wanted. So he is cold, but his real weapon here is the gun that he has. So we've got Mr. Freeze, who has this gun that's going to shoot, try to slow him down, stop Gambit. But Gambit has these playing cards that he's going to throw with explosive precision. Which one do you think will trump the other? I want you to use examples from the comic books. I want you to talk about where you've seen their powers in play. I want you to talk about scenarios that they faced. I mean, there's a lot of variables here, and there's a lot of history for these characters. So I want you to say in the comments who you think would win, and I'll use the best answers next week right on this video. And we'll see you next Friday.